Hi, I'm Dana.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to the Nat 20 Book Club. We read Butter by Asako Yuzuki, translated by Polly Barton. It's a Japanese fiction. This was Matt's pick. Um, I don't know what led you to pick this one, but that's the only reason I read it was because you wanted to read it. So.
Yeah. So I picked this because I read a lot of translated works, typically more in the fantasy, your mangas, your light novels eras. But I came across as a Barnes and Noble. Um, I read the back and I was like, interesting, very different. So I was like, why not give it a shot? I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had heard a lot about this just like online, like on Instagram and YouTube a couple years ago, I think. It's been out for a few years now, I think. So I recognized the title,
Hmm.
but it never really was something that was on my radar as something I wanted to pick up because I thought it was more of a true crime kind of
Hmm.
book, which it was not really.
No.
But yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, I would not have picked it up if you hadn't wanted to read it, but it was different than what I expected. And um, but anyway, before we get into like our thoughts about it,
Yes.
we can talk about what the book is about. And,
Yes.
do you want to give a synopsis?
Sure. Basically, the book's main character is Rika. She is a journalist, reporter for a weekly magazine that gets published in Japan. Their readers is typically more the male audiences, and she does covers pretty much anything and everything. In the past couple months, she's been trying to get an interview with a famous serial killer in Japan named Manako Kaiji.
Hmm.
And she finally gets it by not asking just questions about the case, but asking, can you explain the recipe or give me the recipe that the last victim ate before he died was? And that opened the floodgates. And so the story is about her going and having meetings and not she hasn't agreed to the interview yet about the case, but has agreed to just have chats, and it follows her going and having these discussions, usually revolving around food because that was the thing that uh, the Kaiji thing was. She's like, I didn't kill these people. They died because they enjoyed my cooking so much that when I broke up with them, they just couldn't bear to keep on living. And I had no hand in their actual deaths.
Yeah.
Oh, and so this kind of opened up the world for Rika in the sense of the the East Asia has a lot of we call stereotypical like body image ideals and what it means, especially being a working woman in a professional field in a male dominated society. And so she's going and having these conversations, and Kaiji's like, no, all that's wrong. Go home to this specific train station. They have a stick of butter. Go home, cook yourself a pot of rice. Put it in when it's still cold, but not like frozen, but not yet room temperature, and eat that.
And it changed
And
his whole
opened up
life.
her and it changed her life. And so you see that she gives almost Erika homework as she is doing research, getting closer and closer to the case. She brings her best friend into it.
So weird, yeah.
Who and this to talk about like gender roles. Her best friend, what's her name?
Reiko.
Uh, Reika used to work, but then she decided she wanted to quit work and start a family. She got married, and she's has not adjusted to the housewife life as much as she had appeared at the beginning of the book. So it talks about like what is a woman's place as it if you talk to the accused serial killer, the place is to make good food for your man, We find out that she has a lot of male um, father issues in some way, shape, or form, to put it politely.
Well, yeah, and
Oh,
that's like she's described as a serial killer, and the people she allegedly killed were her boyfriends, and
hmm
she had multiple of them, and yeah, a lot of them were older than her, some of them considerably
yeah,
older than her, and
yep,
yeah, she would basically act like their mom. It sounded like feed them,
yes,
take care of them, um,
yes.
and then
The
when she
perfect
stopped,
wife. The perfect wife is basically just a second mother to your husband. Was a bench is essentially what Kaiji thought, and yeah, it was a lot. It was an interesting book.
there was like a lot going on. It was much more of a literary fiction
Yes,
than a true crime. Like with the title, like the full title is like Butter, a story of murder and cooking or something like that.
a novel of food and murder.
Food and murder, thank you. So I thought there would be some actual murder in there. There isn't.
All that happened before the book.
Yeah, there isn't. It's a lot more of like looking at Japanese culture specifically
Yes,
around feminism, what it is,
work-life
work
balance.
life balance, what it means to be a woman and have a professional career or not have a professional career, and the expectations that society puts on women.
Yeah. You're
And
trying to be a mother while also working.
yeah, yeah, and how like society will put so much blame on mothers if like something goes wrong when
Mhm.
they're just doing the best they can, just like anyone else. And um, so like some like I just some of it was just really different than what we see in the US. I think the US, I've never been to Japan, but after reading this book, my impression is um, like feminism and culture in America is more progressive than
Mhm.
Japanese culture currently. Um, and so it was for me when I was reading this, sometimes I just really wanted to shake Rika, because some of the things that she was struggling with, I'm like, yes, of course you need strong female friendships. They are beneficial. They're fantastic. And like women are great. And like, yes, you should be able to eat what you want if you're being healthy. That shouldn't stop you from having butter with your rice. Like, so like things like that, like it just was like, like just get it
Yeah.
already. But like I think it has like important messages in it. Um,
Mhm.
but
Like one thing she struggled with was as she started eating all this food and she started going to gourmet restaurants to try to keep up with all these homework assignments, she started gaining weight, and
Mhm.
people around her noticed that. And they say like, "Oh, you've gained 10 kilos in the course of like 5 6 months." And if you in the author points out in the book through the conversation with her friend, like, "Oh, by the way, the weight that you are at now is still technically under the preferred weight standard
Mhm.
for someone of a female of your age and of your height, etc. That you can read in a lot of health organizations. But now you're considered fat,
By
and
society standards, yeah.
just by society standards, not by health standards, and goes back to just a bunch of different views. So it makes you think about of a lot of different things.
Mhm.
Um, Especially interesting reading this as translated work, obviously Japanese author written originally in Japanese about Japanese culture. It is interesting reading it as an American, with our views of society on some of these things. Where yes, we are a lot more progressive, at the very least publicly.
Mhm.
I'm sure that there are, of course, anywhere there are social circles and ideas where those stereotypes or stricter views still exist, especially different regions of the country. But as a whole, it is just differently. It makes you think like, oh, um, puts in perspectives and things you not necessarily would all string together. So I
Yeah,
enjoyed that for that purpose.
yeah. I will say in terms of, like, the plot, um, it was pretty slow. It took me a good 200 pages to feel invested in the book.
Really took you that long?
Yeah. Well, it's 450 pages, man. It's a long book.
That's 200. That's halfway through.
I know. So like
I'm looking at where page 200 is and what's happening there.
yeah, that's kind of the point of the story where she's like she's had like a handful of conversations with Kaji. She's thinking about breaking up with her boyfriend because she's realizing like they just really want different things and it's not a fulfilling relationship for her. And it's just like where things start to like pick up a little bit. Because yeah, I really was just trudging through that first. And that's like that first half was really where I was like, oh my God, like being inside your head is so frustrating right now.
Yeah.
Because you know, she's talking about okay, if anyone listening has issues with food and like restrictive eating, do not read this book. But yeah, the first half of the book was when she's talking about restrictive eating and being very mindful of her physique and wanting to look honestly like a middle school boy. Like it's
Yeah, the stereotypical prince
yeah,
persona that you see a lot in anime and manga
yeah,
of
yeah. So,
like yes, athletic high school
yeah,
girls will
yeah.
get the prince.
And then like it's yeah, I just had a hard time being inside her head that much without any plot happening at the same
Sure.
time. So yeah, I think if it was like 100 pages shorter, it would have been better for me. But
Yeah.
that's
But it does go in kind of like a rinse repeat cycle. She
Mhm,
goes, she gets a homework assignment, she goes, does it. She has this revelation. She
mhm,
has an existential crisis. She goes back, get another homework assignment. Does kind of rinse and repeat.
yeah.
Um, which I think actually does happen in the real world. I think that is how someone actually like goes, not just one time and know their life is fully
Mhm,
changed. But yeah, I agree with you. As the reader point of view, did we need as many cycles as the reader? Maybe not. Um,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I wish there would have been more about um Kaji's like appeal because
Mm,
where that part of the storyline is at in the book. So it starts she's already been convicted, and then Kaji is appealing the conviction, and so they're going to go through it again.
yes,
Um,
this is definitely happening just before the appeal takes place in the
mhm.
lead up to the retrial.
Yeah, yeah. So I wish we would have got a little bit more of that. Maybe some legal drama. That would have been fun. But
Says the lawyer.
I typically actually don't like to read legal stuff, but since this is a different country with a different legal system, I'd be like, I don't know
Yeah,
what's going
I,
on.
we won't go into it because, as you said, it's a different legal system. Neither one of us is qualified. I'm not even qualified to talk about our own legal system. But, but just hearing about how they like the proof of burden and
The burden of proof, yeah. How they basically
got
convicted her
her
on
convicted her
circumstantial
the
evidence.
first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, that's not how that works. And I'm like, I don't know how Japan works in their legal system. So I go, cool. Things you don't think like it just
Yeah.
there's a lot of things you just don't think about. And I
Mhm.
appreciate it being a clearly a non-target audience reader of the book.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's Butter by Asako Yuzuki. Do you want to go into our ratings?
Yes. So here at the Nat 20 Book Club, we rate our books on a scale of 1 to 20, just like you would roll on a D20 dice in Dungeons and Dragons. 1 being a critical failure, it was awful. You threw the book away, you burned it. With 20 being you put it on the highest pedestal, you have slain dragons with such a novel. Dana, on a scale of 1 to 20, what would you roll this book?
I'm gonna give it a 13.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I feel pretty lukewarm about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, it's too long. And it took me a long time to get invested into it. But
Sure.
I did finish this one.
You
So
finished this one. The last couple books I recommended you have not finished. So
yeah, so this was better than the last couple that you had recommended. um,
I don't know if that says about my tastes or
I mean, I've recommended books that you don't like too, so
That's fair.
that's the beauty of a book club.
All right. I'm probably gonna give it. See, every time you say you don't like a book, then you rate it higher than I think you're going to. So it makes my rating when I say I liked it not as impressive. I was probably thinking of like a 14 or a 15.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was really good. Um, I could even maybe give it a 16. This happens every time. I'm across like a
We
range
pick,
of
like,
numbers.
4 numbers and then finally settle on a 5th.
Yeah, we'll settle for a 15. It was I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the way it made me think and consider different things that I normally would not have thought about, especially not as a quote unquote Western audience reading a Eastern audience book. I thought the author slash the translator did a great job of conveying ideas and thoughts. I do acknowledge at some points it does get a little dronish. I thought there were some interesting chapters or interesting things they decided to include in the book that didn't necessarily need to happen, but I thought they did a really good job of explaining relationships, or at least the main character's relationship with both. We mentioned her best friend, we mentioned the serial killer, but also like work colleagues or professional colleagues in adjacent fields. Her relationship with her boyfriend, which we didn't really talk about much, but I thought it felt a lot of like I enjoyed the kind of the natural relationship building. What it felt natural. You walk in and it wasn't like weird force that sometimes you can get in novels.
Yeah.
I will say that this is loosely based on a true story. So if you're interested and you like the book, you want to go read the about the actual case and the actual story, comment below and tell us what your thoughts on that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'll settle on a 15. Dana, you're a 13. Um,
Not too bad.
Not too bad. All of them can't be knockout 20s.
Yeah, yeah, that's alright.
I have bought the next book. It's not a sequel, of course,
Mhm.
but the second book that's been translated by this author into English. I have bought that one and it's on my shelf, and I do plan to read it. That
Okay.
one's more of a mystery, I do believe.
Yeah, I'll let you just tell me how that one is.
What? Don't want to join in?
No, no, I'm, like, not a huge mystery person, and then I'm
Sure.
not sure that this translator was my favorite. I don't know if it was the original Japanese text that was so
Mhm.
long or if it was the translation that made it so wordy, but, I think I'm okay.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm sure there's a fourth ring book we could have you read instead.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that is all we have. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah, I hope you all have a nat 20 day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.